Hey guys, welcome and welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, my name is Chenelle, the owner of 3 Balls Handmade Soaps and More. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I made this hot processed turmeric and honey soap. Alright y'all, so as always, I like to show you everything that I will be working with for today. And first up, I have this turmeric oil infusion. Now I did the hot oil infusion method a few days ago to make this infusion. I have not strained it yet. I don't think I am going to strain it. I'm just going to roll with it just like this. But yeah, so we have this here. And then I also have my gloves, of course. I also have my bowls over here, my honey, my thermometer, scale, my soap mold, my spatula, my long spout pitcher, my stick blender, my crock pot, and my measuring spoons. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean off my table and then we'll get started. Alright, so first I started out by weighing out my ingredients. Now for this soap, again, I added everything into my crock pot at once. I did have my crock pot on high, and then I just added in each of my ingredients. Now I also replaced half of my olive oil with my turmeric infusion. So half the olive oil was replaced with the turmeric infusion. And honestly, I wish I would have did a little bit more, but we'll talk about that later. So here's my infusion right here. I'm not gonna really go into much detail. I will say, I can't remember if I mentioned it earlier, but I did do 2 tablespoons of turmeric powder, and then I just filled up these little jars, are like 12-ounce jars. So I did 2 tablespoons of turmeric powder, and then I just filled up my 12-ounce jar with olive oil. All right, now y'all, I do apologize. When I turned my camera back on, just before I added in my water lye solution to my oils and butters, I thought that I had pressed record, but apparently I did not. So therefore I don't have the footage of me actually adding the water lye solution into my oils and butters. But so again, once I added it in there, it turned that beautiful orange color, and then it kind of like turned into the color that you see now. And then from there, like the more it cooked, the lighter the color got. But so here it is, a couple minutes in, maybe like 5 minutes in, when I went to check, I had a little bit of bubbly going on. So all I did was just stir that up and then just put the lid back on and just kept checking on it. All right, so here I am about 15, maybe 10-15 minutes into the cook, and at this point it was still like kind of fluffy. You can see how it's just moving, like, you know, it just still felt like airy. So it was still kind of fluffy here, but all I did was just stir that up and then just put the lid back on. And it does go through the different stages. Of course, it's like the champagne, I always call it the bubbly, but you know, champagne bubbles, and then like the applesauce and the mashed potatoes, and then that translucent Vaseline type gel like stage. So but each time all I did was just check the soap, stir it up a little bit, and then, you know, I will put the lid back on and just keep checking. And throughout the entire time, I always have my crock pot set to high. Now that's just me. Like I said, I always leave it on high. But at this point, we were at the translucent stage. So all I did right here, I'm just adding some distilled water to a container. And then I just use my finger to put just a little bit on, just a little bit of distilled water on the soap, so that way I could use my little pH test strip to see what our pH was. All right, and according to our pH strip, we are sitting at a 9. According to the strip and the chart, I think we are at a 9. Definitely not a 10, not an 8. So I figured, you know, a 9. But so now I just turned my crock pot off, and then it was time for me to add in my honey. Now all I did was just add 2 teaspoons of honey. So pretty much just 1 teaspoon per pound of oils. And after I added the honey, all I did was just like stir it up to make sure that it was blended very well. Alright, so next up it was time for me to add my soap to my mold. Now I did get a few comments, or maybe like one or two comments, about how smooth my soap, my hot process soap is. Now I don't know if this makes a difference or not, but I do, my water content is at 38%. So the water is at 38% in this soap, for my soap, for all of my hot process soaps. And once I add it in, once I scoop it into the soap mold, when I tell you I really like slam it, you can see how I'm like slamming it on the table. So I don't know if those two things, work hand in hand together or what, but I mean, I really like slam it on the table. You can see the other stuff just lifting up around, around the soap mold. But so yeah, so my water is like 38%, and then I just like really like slam it on the table. But oh, and something that I forgot to mention. So y'all let me know how true this is. And the reason why I decided this time to infuse my turmeric, because y'all know any other time whenever I use turmeric, I just add the powder in at trace. However, I did see where someone said, not on YouTube or anything, but in a few of these Facebook groups that I'm in, I did see where someone mentioned that when you infuse the turmeric, you get less, like it doesn't come off, like, less of the bleeding whenever you use it, whenever you infuse it, as opposed to just adding the turmeric powder directly to the soap. Y'all let me know if that's like really true or not. And another thing, like honestly, I really wish that I would have added like a little bit more than half of the turmeric infusion, because like the color is okay and everything, but I was expecting like it to be just a little bit darker. Like I wasn't expecting it to be as light as it is, especially with me using like half, replacing half of my olive oil with this turmeric infusion. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. We're just gonna roll with it. Now right here, I am just taking some bubble wrap, and y'all, please let me know the trick to this bubble wrap, because both times where I use this bubble wrap with making hot process soap, you could not see the bubbles, and I used the bubble wrap to try to make like that little honeycomb effect on there, but both times that I've used it, like you can't, I mean, I can't see it, so I don't know, y'all, what is it that I'm doing wrong with this bubble wrap to where it's not really showing up with this hot process soap? Cold process soap, I have no problems getting a little honeycomb to show up, but with this hot process soap, this is the second time I've done that, and it did not work. So y'all leave me some tips down below on that. But once I finished doing that, like here I am just pressing it in to try to, making sure that it's like really pressed into the soap, but that didn't work because you can still barely see it, and you'll see that in the next clip. But so here I am just like messing around with the top, trying to, y'all know how I like my tops to have like that little crunchy look on them. So, but once I was done with that, then I just put this to the side and cut it the next day. So here I am about like 24 hours later, and it was time for me to cut my soap. Now you can cut this as soon as it cools down. I've heard that you can cut hot process once it's done cooling down. However, I'm just so used to doing cold process, and I just let mine just sit overnight. But y'all see what I meant whenever I said that about that bubble wrap? Like it barely showed up. So I don't know, but yeah. And then you see the color as well, like how light it is now. So but I will be adding a little bit more turmeric the next time I make this loaf. And yeah, so right here I'm just taking it out the soap mold. And y'all, I will be making more cold process soap Right now, I'm just in the process of redoing my website, replacing my cold process with hot process on my website. So y'all just bear with me, and I promise you I will be making more cold process soap. As a matter of fact, I got a request to do the pineapple soap in cold process, so y'all be on the lookout for that. Now here I am just cutting my soap, and y'all look at how the bars turned out. Other than the color, you know, I think the bars still came out okay, you know, decent or whatever. But yeah, so I'm gonna finish cutting these up, and y'all just enjoy the cut. Now here I am just lining up my soaps to stamp them, and if this is your very first video, I always line up my soaps. I stamp every single one of my soaps, so all of my soaps, I stamp them all. And all I'm doing right now is just getting ready to, I place them down, and then I just take a piece of cling wrap, saran wrap, and put that in between the soap and my stamp, and then I just stamp my soap. No, I'm not sponsored whatsoever with the company that made my stamp. However, I will leave their information down below. I got this stamp from a shop off of Etsy about 2 years ago, maybe somewhere in there. So, and so far almost 2 years. I think August to be like 2 years, or July. But I mean, so far so good. And I'm still like, I mean, the stamp is still holding up. The stamp is still stamping. Okay. Almost 2 years later, the stamp is still stamping. So it's a really good stamp. And again, I'm not sponsored whatsoever, and I will leave their information down below. Now y'all, here is our turmeric and honey soap hot process. Y'all let me know what you think down below. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider leaving me a thumbs up. And if you have not done so already, consider subscribing to our channel. And to all of our wonderful supporters out there, we love and thank you guys so much. And until next time, I will see you guys later.